Hi everyone. So today I wanted to do a different video of something that we just recently have experienced. And as you can see from the title, many of you might ask first and foremost, why is she talking about something like this? Why is she talking about something so personal and private? Well, the reason is that I have just felt in my heart that I need to share what we went through. I believe that if we ever have to go through any heartbreak or difficult times in our lives, I want it to be used that experience to be used in a positive way, or to help somebody in the future, and maybe somebody we don't even know, or whatever it may be. I just want our experience to be able to help somebody who may be going through the same thing. So basically I want to just start off kind of saying what happened and how it happened, and then kind of talk about a little bit more about how it affected us. So pretty much it's been about 2 weeks and a couple days since we found out that we had miscarried. And pretty much what had happened was that one night, it was Tuesday night 2 weeks ago, I started spotting a little bit. And what that is just basically a little bit of bleeding and blood on your underwear, and you find it, and it's really normal in the first trimester sometimes. It happened when I had Callie. And so I had a little bit of spotting Tuesday night, and that night I told Joshua about it. And honestly, for some reason I had just a weird feeling, and I told him that miscarriage was a possibility, and that usually these things happen when that happens. So I went to sleep that night, didn't think too much of it. Then Wednesday morning, I woke up and I noticed there was still spotting. It hadn't gone away. So I decided to just call the nurse and see if it was if I should go in. And so I called her, and she asked if I had heavy bleeding and heavy cramping, and I told her no. All I really felt were kind of like gas cramps, like if you had like little gas bubbles, and those little like feelings that you feel then when somebody has obviously gas. I was scared just even being there, but I thought no, nothing could be wrong with me, God forbid, and things like that. So I went in and I got an ultrasound, and she first did the abdominal ultrasound, and things were kind of fuzzy. I couldn't really see anything, so she decided to do the probe ultrasound, and I could tell something was wrong because she didn't say anything at first. She didn't say, oh, the baby's fine, there it is, it's fine. She was taking pictures, and I also noticed that the baby had looked the same as when we had our 8-week ultrasound. Excuse me. So pretty much at we had an 8-week ultrasound, and everything looked okay. There was a heartbeat. The doctor said everything looked fine. Measurements were okay. Everything was okay. So that's why after that one, we actually proceeded to tell family and friends and things like that. So she was doing the ultrasound and taking pictures, and she didn't say anything. And I had remember what the heartbeat looked like. It was like a little flicker on the baby from the 8-week ultrasound, and I didn't see that. So I just went ahead and said, is there a heartbeat? And she said, no, I'm sorry. And that right there was just so devastating. I just started bawling. I was crying, and I didn't know what to do. And she actually told me that the pregnancy hadn't progressed, probably right after I had my 8-week ultrasound. So it had been a couple weeks already. So at that moment, you're just overwhelmed with emotion, and you don't know it's so surreal what you're going through. One, because I had such an easy pregnancy with Callie, and when we get pregnant easy as well, we don't have a problem getting pregnant. So you think, and I'm young, I'm 27, so you think you're invincible. You think, oh yeah, I can pop out these babies like nothing. But so I never thought something like this would happen to me. And so just all those emotions when she told me that I had miscarried, it was just I was really in shock. And so that day, at the doctor's office, I called Joshua right away. He was at work, and let him know. And of course, he was devastated too. So then she took me to her, one of the rooms, and we talked about the next steps. And pretty much, since my body hadn't naturally miscarried, and it had been a while, usually they'll give you the option that you could wait and you can do it. Your body can just do it naturally. But since it had been a while already, my body kind of didn't get the message that I had miscarried. She recommended doing the D&C procedure. I forgot the word it stands for, but the words it stands for. And I told her, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. That was Wednesday, and so we scheduled the D&C procedure for Friday, because Saturday we were actually had a planned trip to California. So that's why I went ahead and I wanted to just get it over with. So after, so that was Wednesday. Thursday, I just, actually Wednesday after the doctor's office, I went back to work. I had to pick up my things because I actually had gone to work. I had to pick up my things, and I left. I went home. I came home. I grabbed my baby, and I just realized what a miracle she really is. And I just kind of got a lot of support from my family and friends, and just, I was actually just took that day to just grieve and just kind of like process what had happened. And so Thursday was a little bit better. Thursday night, I actually had a bit of a panic attack Thursday night in bed because I was so scared about the procedure in the morning. I had kind of done a little bit of research of what they were going to do, and I wasn't terrified of that. I was just more scared of being awake during the anesthesia, or not waking up, and what if I never see Callie again? And all these thoughts were just going through my head, and I just had a panic attack thinking I was gonna die. And I'm a worst case scenario type thinker, so I actually have to fight to not think that way. So finally, I got over those thoughts and I went to sleep. And then Friday came and we went to the surgical unit. And I was fine Friday morning. We were there, and I was putting my gown on. And once I sat down and they started putting the IV in me, and I was just like staring at the floor. And I remember I was just thinking, God, I don't ever want to be in this situation again. And I was thinking about also those women that just go through this and they're further along, in their pregnancy. And I just started bawling, and I was crying. I was like, oh my, I was just very emotional. I was about what was about to happen and what had happened, and so it was just very emotional for me. So I finally calmed down. Joshua came in. I calmed down, and basically what the D&C procedure is they put you to sleep. You're completely asleep. And they basically go in there and take the baby out. It's I think with suction, but also they scrape the lining of your uterus, which is what your body naturally does when you have a period. And then they suck the tissue out of your uterus, and so it kind of triggers your body to kind of start the reproductive cycle again. And the recovery, it's a in and out outpatient procedure. I think I was there for total maybe 2 hours, and then I went home. And the procedure itself only takes like 30 minutes though. So you're in and out. And so the procedure, I went under anesthesia. Everything went fine with the anesthesia. I woke up, and actually, they walked me to the car, and in the car I just sat there and I was just crying, and you're just so overwhelmed because you don't know what to think. You don't know how to act. You don't know how you should be acting, what you should be thinking. You're just so overwhelmed with thinking about what had happened and how you feel. And I started crying in the car, and I was very tired. Waking up for anesthesia also, you're very tired, very emotional. And so we went home, and I rested the whole day on Friday. And thank God that I was in no pain after the procedure. They give you basically ibuprofen, but there's not like any other heavy medicine that they give you after. And I was in no pain, and I just rested the whole day. So Friday, I had a lot of support. That was kind of just basically everything that happened. I know I kind of rushed through it, but that was everything that happened, the sequence of events, and kind of the technical of how it happened and things like that, and a little bit of an emotional. But you can't really even explain the emotions that you're going through during this time. Like I said, one, you think, like in my experience, you think you're invincible. You think that this is never going to happen to you, and when it does, you're just in shock. And the first thing that comes into your mind is confusion. Is like, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why, God? Why did you let this happen to me? Why did you even let me get pregnant if you were going to take the baby away? So you go through all these thoughts and you're fighting with yourself too, because you got to realize that it wasn't your fault. That was, one of the pieces of advice that the doctor gave me. Because you think, well, did I eat something wrong? Did I lift something up? Did I, did I not take my prenatals like I should have? What did I do wrong? And so the doctor told me, a lot of time in these cases, it's not your fault. And it's nothing that you could have prevented. If women out there that are doing drugs and drinking alcohol can have full-term babies, then that made me realize, then yes, it wasn't something that I had done. So you're going through all those thoughts, and so that was one piece of advice that the doctor, or something that helped me get through it. And another thing that helped me get through it was when she said that 1 in 4 women, this happens to 1 in 4 women, so it happens a lot more than we know, because at the time you think you're the only one in the world this is happening to, and you're like, you just think you're alone in the whole situation, and that's not the case. The truth is, it happens a lot more often than we know, and a lot of women just don't speak about it. And so that's why I felt like I should speak about it, to let anybody who's going through it know that you're not alone, that this happens, that those feelings you feel and emotions you're going through, I've gone through them, and other women have gone through them. So so that's another thing. And kind of backtracking a little bit, for some reason with this pregnancy I felt a lot different. I didn't feel as connected, which probably is because I had a 15-month-old that I'm very occupied with, that keeps me busy. That with this pregnancy I didn't really focus or and feel that connection. So for some reason, miscarriage kind of was in the back of my head. And the reason I say that is my mom had 3 miscarriages. She has 4 children total, but she had 3. So I've always thought when I've gotten pregnant, they never found out why or the reasons or what happened with hers. So I've always thought maybe this could be a possibility with me, or something could happen. So for some reason that's always been in the back of my head. And that Tuesday night when I started spotting, I actually told Joshua that it was a possibility, and I actually also told him, what, if I miscarried, I don't think I'd be as affected, or I don't think it'll touch me as much, which obviously was a lie, because it did affect me. No matter how connected I was with this baby, the fact that you lose a baby, that you carried something and you lose it, it's very sad and heartbreaking. So but at the same time, as I mentioned, since I wasn't so connected to this baby, or realizing so much or noticing so much that I was pregnant, it did help me get over things a little bit quicker. So Saturday we had, I didn't have a lot of time to recover. Saturday we left to California, which was our already planned vacation. And honestly, that helped a lot, because we were able to just get away, take our minds off of things. And it really helped us to get over things. Because honestly, I can say when we came back, which was last week, after a week of going through everything, I could say I was fully healed. I was healed emotionally. I had kind of let it go, and I kind of got over it. And I even told someone that I felt a little guilty for feeling so, over it already, because, but the truth is that life moves on. I have a little girl that I have to take care of and be strong for, and life goes on. I have to go back to work. I have to keep moving. And so So we were able to get over it, and this is just my experience. I'm not speaking for my husband at all. This is just me and how I feel. We were able to get over it fairly quickly, and which is a good thing. And the truth is that if you think about it too much, and if you get too much into what you had lost, it's very easy in a situation like this to get into a depression. So a couple things that if you're going through this that I recommend are these. Is one, think about the positive. And in my situation, the positive was a lot of different things. One positive for me, and I don't say they're positive because the whole situation is not fun, it's not enjoyable, but you got to think about the good and whatever you can get out of a certain situation that's a sad situation. And one was for me was that the pregnancy hadn't progressed so far along. So I thank God that I wasn't 4 or 5 months pregnant and this happened, that I didn't make that connection yet or get so caught up into the pregnancy when this happened. So that was one thing. I thank God that it happened early, and you know, the baby wasn't fully formed or completely formed. So that was one thing. The other thing is a really good piece of advice that my doctor gave me is that, you know, at my age, it's really, when these things happen, it's really your body doing its job and protecting you from either an unhealthy baby or not a fully formed baby. So just think about that, and that your body's doing its job in protecting you and keeping you healthy. So that was another thing. A third thing for us was that, you know, we wanted our kids close, but we still have a good window of opportunity to keep them close. So Callie's 15 months, and you know, they can still be 2 and 2.5 years apart. For me, if she would have been 3 or 4 years old and we were really trying quickly to have a kid, then it would have been a little bit harder. But that was another positive thing that I could take out of it, is that we can try again, and we have time to try again. Which is another thing, is that now we have the option to wait. You know, Joshua was very worried with being in school. The baby would have been born in September. He graduates next May. So having a newborn and having Callie so young, he was getting really worried of how we were going to manage. And so that was a kind of another positive thing, is that we have the option of waiting now. So whatever your situation may be, and it may be completely different from mine, try to think about whatever you can to make it easier, to make whatever you're going through easier. Don't think about the negative or the sad things, because that's the way I am. I think about those things, but I had to fight that. You know, one thing, for example, is that I'm a realist too. I think, you know, I try to keep it real. So another thing is that my mom had 3 to have her 4. What if I do have to go through this again? What if I have to have, you know, 2 more to have the family size that I want? You know, but you can't think like that, because it's so easy to ponder on those type of thoughts and just sink into a depression. So try not to think about those things as much as possible. And the last piece of advice that I want to give you is just to get a great support group. I had family and friends that just love me so much, and let them be there for you. Let them text you, call you, visit you, and let them be there, and just be there to encourage you and motivate you and lift you up. If you know it's somebody that's going to just bring you down and make you worse and more sad, then don't even bother with those people. But get those people that you know that are just going to surround you with love and hope for the future. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share. I try to not make it so detailed. One also thing is just take your time to grieve if you have to. Just take your time to cry. I had my moments where I just bawled and I was crying and crying, and I think that having those moments helped me get past the whole situation a little bit quicker. So if you need to, take that time. So that's it. I tried not to make it so long of a video, because I could seriously just talk and talk and talk. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope this video helped you in some way or another. And that's all. God bless you guys. Bye. So really quick, a couple things that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention are, one, the reason why I got a D&C. I didn't want to risk going through it naturally, especially if we were going to go to California and on vacation. I didn't want to just out of the blue it happened, and go through that pain and the cramps and all that. So I just emotionally did not want to go through that, and physically. Another thing was that I haven't had my follow-up appointment that's scheduled for next Friday, so I don't know any information that came out of the procedure or anything like that. I don't know that yet. And two more things are that I have realized how strong I really am, that I've gotten this, that I'm here, and then I can actually talk about this. I remember I always thought, oh, if I ever gone through something like that, I would just die. And the truth is that it does make you stronger, and I've never thought I would be able to talk about this and get over something like this so quickly. And you just don't realize how strong you are until you go through something like this. So that could be another positive to think about. And the last and most important thing is that God has a plan and a purpose for everything in our lives. If you're a believer of Christ, and you know that. I know in the beginning it's hard to believe that when you're going through this. You don't even want to hear those words. Everybody tells you, God knows why, God knows why, and you're just so upset and so sad and devastated that you don't even want to hear it. But once you get over that moment of devastation, and you kind of get yourself back together, then you do really realize that God does have a purpose and a plan, and He has our family's best interest at heart, and you know, and that's what something that makes me happy and that I can look forward to, is that everything He's doing His will in our lives, and you know, we've given our lives to Him, and so there is a purpose that we've gone through this. And so I think now I am done. I just wanted to get those few little pieces in there before there's a lot more questions. So anyways, that's all. Bye.